Okay, I would like to call to order the Public Safety and Equity Advisory Committee meeting for May 8th, 2025. Roll call, Victoria Rizzo. Here. Woodrow will hang on, I understand he's coming. Twyla Harrington.
Here.
Excellent. Mary Howe. Here. Sherry Winters. Here. Robbie Cantrell. And I know Chris Ellison told us last month that he would be gone, so yeah, excuse. We've got the captain and Nick. Okay, let's do the Pledge of Allegiance. Let's see. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, I'd like to open public comment on non-agenda items. And so if anyone's online that wishes to address us, please unmute and state your name and residence.
Shelby, it's Paul Wilcox, Troutdale.
Excellent, go ahead, Paul.
You got me? Okay. I've sent detailed information to the 5 committees and commissions that appoint people to the TCAB group. And last night, CAC was the first group to receive that information. And I got the impression that some of the members didn't get around to looking at that in their packet. So in case that's the case tonight is the same case where everybody didn't quite get to it, I'm going to do a real brief, super brief summary of what's in there. Basically, the ordinance and the municipal code both specify that the appointments need to be in place by July 1. So I'm bringing it to everyone's attention in your May meetings so that you can schedule, put that process on your June agendas. So basically, June is your last opportunity before July 1st, and they have to be in place on June 1st. I think that covers it. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Paul. All right, anyone else online? No, I guess no one else is online. Okay, nobody in the room, so I'll close public comment. All right, next thing up, approval of the February 6th, 2025 meeting minutes. We'll start with that one first. Anybody have any corrections? Say anything?
Grand enough.
Yeah. I believe so. You just have to have 4, I believe.
This is Sherry. I believe these minutes were a holdover. Twyla, you might remember too. They were a holdover because there was a checking on something.
Yep, that was in the, I think it was in the Pledge of Allegiance section is where it says that I stated this stuff. It was in fact in the February meeting, not the March meeting, so they corrected that.
Okay. And I believe there was a few little other things we had mentioned before.
Is anybody? Anyone want to, got any, need a motion or anyone got any corrections?
This is Sherry. I make a motion that we approve the minutes for February.
Is there a second?
I'll second it, Sherry.
Any more discussion? All right, hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstains? Okay, motion passes. All right, now let's look at the March 6th, 2025 meeting minutes. anybody's got any comments or corrections? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion.
I move we approve minutes in March
March 6th.
March 6th.
Any second?
Is Sherry a second?
Okay, any further discussion? All righty, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Abstains. All right, passes unanimously. Okay, on to next agenda item. Review of monthly law enforcement reports from April. So Captain Stewart, you have the floor.
Thanks, Shelby. So you'll note in these reports here, there's a slight increase in traffic crashes. There were 35 this month compared to 20 last month. Our dispatch calls for service are on track with this month last year. And investigations detectives had 14 new cases assigned. 8 of those 14 are still under investigation. Stolen vehicles, we had 2 vehicles reported stolen off Frontage Road, and one of those vehicles has been recovered, one is still outstanding. And then if you look at the crime trend outline, one thing I wanted to note is that person crimes are trending about the same, and there's been a 3 to 4% decrease in property crime. The notable increases in societal crime are in the areas of warrants, DUIs, and vice calls for last month. And I only have one thing I wanted to highlight out of the crime report. Well, it wasn't the crime report, but I think it's notable. Deputy Bohr, your community resource deputy, did an outstanding job on a chronic nuisance house last month. It actually began from him doing traffic enforcement on Troutdale Road. He stopped a speeding motorcycle that turned out to be stolen. And he was able to track that motorcycle back to a house where there were several other stolen motorcycles and motorcycle parts. He coordinated with our code enforcement officer. He also contacted the suspect's adult father who was living at the location and had some issues that he needed help with, so Adult Protective Services was summoned to help him file a restraining order against the suspect who was living on the property, his son, and also work with code enforcement to kind of button up some of the issues there. This was a great success from your community resource deputy. This house has been a problem in that neighborhood for quite some time, and I think what's notable from that is that the neighbors were on their roof next door cheering as they were serving the search warrant. So it's a great job, Nick. The city really appreciates your efforts, and I just wanted to highlight this case because this is one of the several things that your community resource deputy does for the city daily.
Can we tell about the neighborhood you were in, or is that,
18th Court off Troutdale Road.
okay,
Excellent.
thank you.
So, great job, Nick.
Yes, thank you.
I don't know if you can see us, Nick, good job.
You can see his name.
Yeah.
Other than that, any questions?
Well, I appreciate the book that you provided.
Okay, and that is due to me, you guys. That is because we talked about it last time. We were removing filters so we could see why we were missing some things, because we all brought this up. We had some things we were looking for and it wasn't showing up on the report. So now we get a book. There's lots of things. So perhaps everyone can have a chance to review. I know it's a book, so maybe everybody didn't really get through the whole book. So maybe we'll still end up with a book next month, or we can take the time to decide what to start filtering out. But I think it's a little hard right now because I think we haven't had a chance to go through. So we might have to have another month of the book.
But can I ask some questions?
Yes, you
Yeah.
absolutely, go ahead.
Okay, so when I was looking, I just saw certain things the way they're identified, and I thought, I don't even really know what that means. So it might be obvious, but it says follow-up. Why something called follow-up? What's that word mean?
Which page are you on?
Well, there's gonna be
Oh,
several.
the
There's gonna
very
be several.
first one, but there's several in there.
Yeah, that could be for several reasons. Mostly it's for deputy is assigning a follow-up to a case they're already working on. So let's say they think it's going to be a report, and then they have some information they need to follow up on, victim information or suspect information. They'll code that as a follow-up while they're working on that.
Okay.
Just to track it, so, and connect it to the case sometimes. It could be for a variety of things.
Okay. Then there's something in here, I'm trying to see if it was on the first page. It was called civil to civil or civil or something like that.
I'll give my-
So like on my third full page, the first page of it, at the bottom of the page, it's still 4-2, if that's helpful.
The civil problem?
It says civil problem, yeah.
That could be a variety of things. That could be civil service from our civil deputies where they're serving subpoenas or restraining orders.
Okay.
That could be a situation where somebody's calling in, they have a problem with like a collection agency that's harassing them or whatever. And it doesn't fall under the criminal code, but it's a civil problem. There's a variety of things that could fall under.
Okay. Those were two things for sure when I was looking through. I was like, oh, yeah, what is that stuff?
I have a question.
Go
This is
ahead.
Mary. Going back to that civil, could that also be like, where would the officers show up and it ends up being like a civil matter for domestic only? It's really not, it's just a civil
could
matter?
be.
Is that the same civil, or is civil actually mean it's actually the warrant people going out or officers?
It could be. It really depends on if BOIC,
How
if they
they-
reclassify the call. It could be how it's entered initially. It could be either way.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, this is maybe more for thought than a response, or maybe you have a good response now, but can you see a reason why we as a public safety committee would want to see that information, the civil thing? I mean, like, would there be a reason why we would want it maybe not in this big book, so we wouldn't, look at it like it's, because I feel like public safety, we're kind of charged with certain things, but is that kind of part of something we'd really be needing to peruse, or?
That's up to you, Sherry. You just
Okay.
tell me what you need and I'll get it to you, okay?
Okay, all right, so, yeah, then I will say there is something called an undescribed incident.
It could be a variety of things. If you have one specific, I can look it up and tell you exactly what that one is. Let me get my computer.
Oh, okay, it's on it's once again on 4/2. It's at 14:38:44 in the afternoon. And it's the last one on that page, so,
Undescribed.
yeah, I don't know if that's the fourth full page.
4/4?
4-2 dash,
What date is it on?
4/2,
For,
Yeah.
for what?
April 2nd,
April 2nd? Okay.
yeah,
and it's at it occurred at 14:38, the time.
1 sec.
I think this might be a little bit of delving into this to help us to figure out what we don't need to see. So,
Undescribed incidents. Yeah, so there's really no information on this. It just says it was at Cherry Park Road and the assignment was completed, so
okay.
I'm not sure what that is, to be honest with you.
Okay, that's fair enough. Okay, I feel like when I look through stuff, there were certain things like that. There's other things that we as a committee could talk about. I guess flipping over to the next page, 4/3, at 10:11 in the morning, it says GDU.
Yes, so that is activities from our gun dispossession unit. So that unit is comprised of 2 deputies and a sergeant, and they respond to court orders of domestic violence that require gun dispossession. So if you see those coded, that's them responding to a residence to enforce that order for the judge.
Okay, all right.
while you guys are thinking on this stuff, though, can you tell us about the priority numbers it seems like they're 1 through 7. Can you tell me what they?
Yeah, absolutely. So Our highest priority calls are 1 and 2. 1 is gonna be like an immediate life safety response. And 2 is similar to that, so that'd be like a priority assault, something of that matter. And then 3 through 7, the 6s and 7s are kind of benchmark calls for like a parking problem, abandoned vehicle. We'll check on at some point. The 3 through 5s can be coded variously, and they can be changed. So the call taker at MOA can take the call, and for their criteria, they believe it's a priority 3, which is an urgent situation, but not necessarily emergent. And the sergeant who was working at that time can look at that and look at the totality of the call and recode that to a lower call for us to get to later. Your 6s and 7s though are lowest priority. And the best example I can give is an abandoned vehicle follow-up.
Yeah, okay.
A 4-5 would be like a noise complaint or something that needs response, but maybe not emergent or urgently, so.
Okay.
So you guys, I believe that our reports used to just include maybe 1s and 2s and maybe 3s.
Yeah.
I don't know, I just think that's why we've got so more of it.
I don't know, I feel like there was others, Paul probably knows
Okay,
for
well,
sure
so maybe
too,
I think so,
reviewing,
too.
but
We just got a lot more pages now. So
I just feel like there's certain things, like those things that I brought up, of those things, there's, one on here, it is a 7, it's a parking problem. I don't think we would have seen something like that, so there must be
Right.
another particular way things are described that we don't hear about them, or didn't before, so.
Twyla, do you have any questions?
I don't, not at this time.
Okay, just thought I would check. Okay. You guys have more questions? You have any, Victoria? How about you, Woodrow?
No, there's a lot of stuff in here.
I know, it's a book.
I did, last night at our other meeting, we were wondering, are they clearing out 1,000 acres?
I did have a meeting with DSL last week, and we are planning to post the area closure and do a sweep of the area. That date has been kind of fluid, but yeah, DSL is looking to do that,
Okay.
They haven't started that.
yeah. They have not started yet, no.
Shelby, I apologize. My hand icon is not, raise your hand icon is not working. So I will just raise my hand. I couldn't quite make out the acronym. DSL, is that
Department of State Lands, Oregon Department of State Lands.
perfect? Thank you so much.
Well, if you guys, go ahead. Woodrow.
Shelby, so we're gonna continue to get all the book for the foreseeable future?
Okay, this was, when we reported that we were missing some items. I don't remember if we did it in the meeting, but Captain Stewart and I talked about it, and rather than try to change the report, and try to figure out why the incident that I thought I should see when all these police cars showed up in my neighborhood and someone was arrested. So we just removed all the filters, and it is coded, I looked up that incident, was coded as a premises check. And it was, I think a priority 3, can't remember now, I didn't write it down. But anyhow, I just decided that, or we talked about just remove all the filters. So I think we don't want to have to deal with all of this. Obviously, you can see none of us are getting through the whole report before the meeting, and that's not good.
Well, I might
So-
have, but not on the computer.
Okay, but so I think that we need to maybe get this one more month, but let's peruse this book this month and come prepared next month to follow up. We'll have more questions, but then let's rein it in. Let's decide what things we don't want to see anymore, so we can get this back to more manageable size. Does that sound reasonable to all of you? Because I really don't want to now go back to filtering stuff out, and then I don't also want us to keep on going, have this book, so in between. Go ahead, Woodward.
So I guess one question I have is, so for this section, you know, of all the calls for service, are these all the county personnel assigned to Troutdale, or is this extra? Is this other Multnomah County resources coming into Troutdale to do these types of activities?
Yeah, so like the gun dispossession unit.
Yeah, so it's yeah,
It's
we don't
any
have
call
one.
in the city of Troutdale. That
Yeah.
reflects any call in the city of Troutdale.
Yeah, so any call in the city of Troutdale, and so this would be resources that were not necessarily contracted for. It's something that they were coming in to do the dispossession or,
Some, yeah.
got it.
But it could also include, couldn't it, ones that are assigned here, then it starts here and then it ends up somewhere else, right?
Yeah, if it's coded, and if it's
Coded for
like
here.
a 60s or 70s district, which is what the city has is our assigned districts, if it's coded from that, they will get that report.
Right.
Because I guess if we could tell otherwise, not just from the code or the priority, that this was a Troutdale resource response versus non-Troutdale resource response, to me, that would be helpful, and it would show whatever priorities are, but it would be our resources, the ones that we'd want to see, right?
But I think we'd also want to see any crime that happens in our district, period. Period. Doesn't matter if it has required a resource from outside of our area, we still want to know about it because we want to know what's happening in our community. So we can see if there's a trend, a problem, we can kind of be
So
aware of it.
so no filters, and we're going back to keeping the big one for a while.
Well, no, I mean, this got
Okay.
added because we are now showing other or lower priorities. We never probably used to see 6 and 7s, maybe we didn't even see 5s, I don't know, but because I had him remove all of the filters, it's just everything for Troutdale.
I'm not against putting the filters back on,
Well,
right?
but
you know,
I think we want to, but I don't think, we don't want to put them all back on because we were not seeing some things that we saw in our neighborhoods that we were like, well, I saw that police.
It wasn't
activity."
just that, Woodrow, there was a couple of different months that, when in really looking at it, it's like it showed like we don't have any police activity on, or the police aren't doing anything on, this day of the week and then this day. And so it was like, in the month of February, you could look through on the report we were getting, and it probably showed like 7 or 8 days that there was nothing going on, which wasn't true. There's stuff going on in Troutdale, it's just not meeting our, criteria. So,
Go ahead, Mary, I think you're doing.
Miss Mary, I would just like to maybe make a motion to
Okay.
table this and look at it as we can. And then next month, provide us again with another book, as you guys are calling it. But, and then maybe we can just go each individual through and see what we think may or may not be in. But honestly, these all occurred in Troutdale.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the whole report.
So that is clear. And
Right.
I mean, I personally, right now, just looking at it, I don't think we need, no community meeting, the community meeting. I think maybe that's something we could see taken off of here, but I haven't had a chance to look through it all, and I think some of these like undescribed things, I think are where the officers might show up and they don't fit into the uniform crime codes when they get coded, maybe, like officer shows up and it really doesn't fit into a civil matter. It just is like maybe somebody thought their bike was stolen, but it really wasn't or something. And, so what do you classify that as a person who's sitting there trying to classify things? So it gets put in as undescribed or something. That's like, I don't know. I just know that from, when I used to have to code reports. But anyway, I just make a motion to maybe table this till next month and come back and see after we get a chance to actually go through it, maybe, but I don't
Anyone
know.
else think about? What do anyone else think about?
Unless you guys want to go through it more now.
just before, could I ask one more question?
Oh, go ahead, Sharon.
So there's also something on the 23rd at 12:24. It says assist, citizen or agency.
We get through my work real quick. Yeah, so a lot of those will be coded for, we get those a lot when we get walk-in reports here. That'll be a citizen's or a call for, someone just want a question, call back with, to answer some questions from the deputy. So this one was, the complainant had called asking for a phone call, had questions about the structure of patrol shifts for MCSO.
Okay.
See, that's another priority 7, see, I think. Okay, does,
So I would say you made that motion?
I just make a motion to, for us to go through this, and next month come prepared to give what we think may or may not remain on it. And
I don't know that we have to have.
Or we can just agree to table it until next
I
month?
was just gonna say, I don't think that well, maybe I'll just go ahead and we can do a motion if, I guess that's
Or would it
right.
just be an agenda item for next month?
It's just, so I mean, it's agenda item for next month
Yeah.
after we've talked to, I mean, I would think we want to be able to ask the captain here, any of our questions that we, you know, why it would be, we might want to see this kind of code thing, or why we for sure wouldn't want to if we're trying to include something.
Yeah,
But it will require everybody to try to assess what we should, because we do want to get this down. This is obviously, it's not effective. We're not reading a book.
yeah.
We won't do that every month, I can tell that. I guess I can write this down as an agenda item. Number 5, that we table. And this was Mary and she was seconded. Okay, so any more discussion on tabling this? Come prepared next month with the things you would like to see excluded from the report, things you'd like to, or things you'd like to make sure we include. Looking at both, I guess, priority or how things are coded, so. Any more discussion? Okay. Right, so all those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? Okay, unanimously, we're tabling it. I guess I should have I'll open the law enforcement reports up for public comment, if there's any public that wants to comment on the law enforcement reports.
Shelby, this is Paul Wilcox, Troutdale. Mary mentioned something that I've been thinking about for a while, actually, when she mentioned like stolen bicycles. I was wondering where property crimes come into this, like stolen Amazon packages, stolen bicycles. How much of that is being reported online where a deputy doesn't actually come out to the residence and take a report? We had a very nearby neighbor that posted on Nextdoor video of a couple of people stealing their kids' bicycles off their front porch. So I'm kind of wondering how that sort of thing is documented. Stolen bikes, packages, car prowls, that sort of property crime kind of deals.
I'll get a summary and I'll have it for next month.
Didn't you tell us, though, if they reported online, it's included in this kind of?
Not all of them.
Oh, not all of them?
Yeah, it's only, so if there's an online report made and it is determined that it's gonna be sent to like a deputy for follow-up and it's assigned a case number, so it's assigned an initial case number through case service, which is the program we use for online reporting. If it's then transitioned to a case number for an investigation or whatnot, then it will show up in there. But there's some that just live in case service that never move past that. And so this would be like a non-actionable report that somebody's making online. No suspect info reports. Sometimes those will make it over, but I'll get to the bottom of it.
Okay. How are we doing now? Yeah. Okay, I'll close public comment then on this agenda item. All right, you guys, we shall move on. Thank you, Captain. So next up, we have Deputy Kaiser, who's going to talk to us about community patrol.
Good evening, everyone. bear with me because I'm getting over some type of cold of some sort, so I'm a little nasally. So my name is Joe Kaiser. I'm with the Multnomah County Sheriff's Office. I've been in law enforcement for over 25 years. I've been with the Multnomah County Sheriff's Office when Fairview merged in 2017, and glad to be here. Part of my duties, including patrol, school resource deputy, among other things, and one of them was a CRD, community resource deputy in Corbett area. And that's what I'm here to talk about. So the community patrol used to be known as the Citizens Patrol, was founded in 2010. The mission was to help reduce crime and fear of crime. This was accomplished by being visually present in the community and being recognized by reporting suspicious activity in law enforcement. What I mean by that is I have volunteers. We've had up to 35 volunteers at one time, mostly retirees, older than me, and just want to do something extra. And so they go through a vetted process. They apply just like anybody else would that wants to work for the sheriff's office. They go through a background check. Once they get vetted through that and it's approved, then we have them take a test. They have to take a written test, and they have to have a minimum score of pass to go through that. And then they do the oral board and so on and so on, just to be a volunteer with us. Just like everybody else, we want to pick the best of the best of our volunteers. The Citizen Patrol or Community Patrol consists of volunteers that are mostly retirees, like I said earlier. Their mission is to patrol the Corbett community in the schools and the Gorge parking lot, trailheads, and deter break-ins. We have currently 2 vehicles that are assigned specifically to the Community Patrol. They are old retired sheriff's vehicles, but they are marked with the Community Patrol logo on them, and they have yellow lights on them. So they're definitely marked as a volunteer, and we have volunteer wording on the side of the vehicle as well. So what they do is they drive out into the falls area, minimum of 2 people at all times. They may see parking violations or something like that. They'll lay notices on there, not actual infractions or citations, but they'll give them a heads up and say, hey, you're in violation, and especially during the summers when we get slammed along the river here and stuff like that, they'll come down here. They'll go up to the 1,000 acres there and notify people out there that they're taking up the stalls that shouldn't be parked in. I have many individuals who regularly, it doesn't matter what the weather is, every morning and every afternoon, they direct traffic at the Corbett schools. So if you've ever driven through the Corbett schools up there and you've seen folks up there with yellow jackets on directing traffic, those are my volunteers. One is actually both of them that have been doing it are retired Vietnam vets. And I'm amazed every time they go and do it. I'm super proud of these guys. They don't have to be asked to do it. And the community loves them because they really put a lot into it. Our community patrol also has helped with the forest fires in the past, helping arrange with checkpoints, meaning like when the Gorge fire took place originally, those residents out there, we needed to know who lived out there and who was visiting. So what we did was we set up a station, and those residents could go up, go to the community patrol members, get a pass, and then go back out. And when I was out there on patrol, I would know that these folks lived here because of that pass. So they took that function to a different level, so I wasn't taking another deputy off the road having to issue each person a pass. So all my volunteers are CPR first aid certified. We carry an AED in the vehicles, and I can honestly go on and on and on about the amazing things that these folks have done. They don't carry weapons, not even pepper spray. They're just there, just like anybody else, to observe and report. They really do spend a lot of time out there, though. Their safety is clearly the primary importance. The focus of many of the training sessions are geared towards de-escalation. We go through de-escalation training every month. We just talk about we run through scenarios, or I run through scenarios and stuff like that. And I said, what would you do if you do this? And it's funny, sometimes you get the answers because we all think we already know the answer, but then they come up with something else. I'm like, that was a really good idea. And kudos to where it goes to, and we apply that. Sometimes we hear something like, we probably shouldn't do that. And then it's not a corrective action, but we're like, what can we do to make it better without going up to this level? I know I'm all over the place here tonight, folks, and I apologize, like I said, I'm just recovering. So some of the major things that we've helped in here is the rock slide out and the gorge where the young lady was killed. They helped me out there. The Eagle Creek fire, the evacuation there, they've helped with life flight and training, multi-agency training. They helped with the Multnomah Falls traffic control, and many times they've helped, they helped on we had a huge manhunt one year up there in the Corbett area. A man showed up someone's house unannounced and actually stabbed someone. This was years ago. And the volunteers were able to help us, again, set up an area so we could get people to safety and stuff like that while we're doing this. It took us 2 days before we actually found the person. And there's other times when I could be on a major crash or something like that, or a fire department, when they're closing down roads, my volunteers carry most of their stuff in their vehicle, and I personally know them, so I've asked, can you get your gear on and go directly to the other end of the traffic there? That's the convenience of having them and knowing the community. Any questions?
So are they always in vehicles?
I would prefer that they drive the community patrol vehicles. I don't want them driving their personal vehicles. The only time I ask is if I see them and they happen to be drive by, and they will ask me, Joe, can I help you with something? And they usually see my desperate face and say, go get your radio, because they have their radios with them and stuff like that, and so I can talk to them. We have a local channel, and so I can say, get your vest, get your stuff on, go down there and direct the traffic for me, please. Our recent fire up there on Woodard Road, I don't know if you remember when the Stark Street Bridge was already closed down. Portland Fire responded. I think we had like 6 apparatuses out there blocking both sides of the road, and they were trying to get us to turn the vehicles around. I'm like, there's no place for them to go. And so one of my volunteers was in that traffic, and he came up and says, can I help you? I'm like, yeah, let's get this traffic going. And so we were able to contain the fire on the the east side of the road, and we were able to get traffic through at the same time safely.
That's good.
Yes, sir.
So is this only for Corbett?
Right now, we're working in the Corbett area. Occasionally, they will come down here and help with events down here. We've had like shredding document events, or some of the events like you have in your parks and stuff like that, they will show up as well. Right now, we're not recruiting because we're kind of restructuring everything. As much as I want to, we're just restructuring, and so we don't have any, we're not accepting any new applications there this time.
Did this all start, what drove this to start? Like there were some people that wanted to volunteer in Corbett and said, hey, we want to help you. And we said, hey, we need to set up a program for them to be able to get involved, or, I mean.
Absolutely. So retired Deputy Joe Graziano is a huge member of the community out there, even though he didn't live out there, and many of you probably heard him or go by the name Rocky is what he went by.
Yeah.
Everyone knows Rocky. I'm surprised he wasn't the next sheriff out there. But he got along with some people there and was talking about it, and they originally wanted to start up a neighborhood watch program themselves. And they turned that neighborhood watch into a much bigger program than it was, and all the way from, like I said, back in 2010. And he just rolled with it, and 90% of the credit goes to Rocky in that program. And it's hard to fill his shoes.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, probably what would drive it to get bigger is if there's someone very committed that wants to work with the sheriff's office to help drive it in another area, to get volunteers, to maybe, I don't know, maybe then there'd have to be more than one of you. I mean, you'd have to have somebody else to be able to manage this part.
It is a big project. Right now I'm also a patrol deputy, so I do regular beats. And when I do the community resource deputy spot, it's unlike the Troutdale, so it's not a funded position. So I do it on, it's like an extracurricular event for me.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, Woodruff.
So are there other, what was this called, the community patrols in other communities here in Monoma County, or is it just, this the only one?
This is the only one right now.
Oh, okay.
Other agencies have them. I know Salem has their senior citizens patrol. Eugene Police has their community patrol. And each one offers different programs. I know the Eugene officers, their volunteers actually go around and write handicap parking tickets. They help with washing vehicles, bike maintenance and stuff like that, and other programs. And this is all you can look up on the web too. If you Google citizen patrol or community patrol, you can find lots of information out there on the website about it. There's a ton of it.
Anyone else have questions? Sounds like a really awesome if we just, basically it's driven though by somebody probably in the community that really wants to and is connected with the sheriff's department. That seems like that's what launches it to probably get.
It's that, and it's a drive for it too. I don't live in community. I see the question here, but
Oh, yeah.
I enjoy working in Corbett, and a little history behind that. I kind of planned on taking Rocky's job when he retired anyway. I knew that's what I wanted to do because I enjoy working out there, enjoy the community members, and that's probably one of my biggest specialties is getting involved. And so we just work really well hand in hand.
Yeah, excellent. Go ahead, Twyla.
Yes, thank you for presenting this. This is great information and glad to know we have this happening out in Corbett. I have a close friend who lives in the Eugene area and is part of that volunteer patrol force there. And it's just such a great way to engage the community and get them involved. And there's so many different tasks that they can do. Like you said, patrol, some people aren't comfortable. So they like actually, when people bring their vehicles in, they clean the vehicles and stuff and everything. So I hope into the future that the county is able to fund a full-time volunteer coordinator or something so that we can offer this more in our communities. Because it does take a lot of time and dedication. So I thank you for facilitating that and ensuring that we can have it in the little corner of Multnomah County.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I would stay, but I have some birthday parties to go to.
Oh, well, happy birthday to whoever has a birthday.
It would be my wife's.
You better get there.
You better get it. Thank you, thank you. Okay, I'm sorry there, I just realized I didn't open public comment there on that. So Paul, if you had questions about that, I'm sorry, just go ask questions. Okay. Next agenda item, follow-up presentation regarding problems along the trails. That's what I worded it, but in your packet, you should have this, and it's here, yeah. I think it's
After the minutes.
after the minutes, it's the document that is the 7-pager from the city, Oregon City, about their strategy. And so I feel, you guys, I don't know if you've had a chance to read through that or whatever, but I kind of thought that we really can't get involved in really coming up with an ordinance, especially if the city council wouldn't be interested in here. I mean, we can't write an ordinance anyhow. We aren't tasked with that. But potentially, we could ask the city council if they would even want us to look into this, or if they want to, or maybe they already, I'm not aware that the city has a policy in place, but maybe they do. But I have to admit, that, I don't really know what to do with this other than, it was great that Frank brought this to our attention. But I'm not sure exactly if we could spend time on this and then it goes nowhere. So I kind of feel like we need to get a blessing about what we should be doing on this. What do you guys think? Any thoughts on it, anybody?
What, sorry.
Go ahead, Woodrow.
What can we do about this? I mean, because there's already several different groups doing similar strategies, but do we just want to create a statement of an intent, or I mean, what exactly can we do?
Well, when Frank Stevens gave the presentation last month, his concerns were how some of the trails, and we are only adding to parks and trails with the new trail that's being built along the Sandy River. So he was calling to attention to the fact that there's boulevards that are cut down and cars are driving on that multi-use trail. It's true, it's leaving the city limits of Troutdale and going across the bridge and over there into 1,000 Acres. And so his concern was that with this new trail, we're gonna have more, we might have cars going further down on this side of the river. I think he's just like saying, maybe we should get in front of this to make sure we can handle it when this trail is opening, what we're gonna do about that. So he thought it's public safety, that's why he started with our committee. But I found that, I just kind of thought about it more and more, and was like, well, we can't overstep our bounds. Go ahead, Twyla, sorry.
Oh, no, I'm trying to follow meeting etiquette with my real life hand. So I wonder, and I'm trying to think back to last month, did he say he presented this to council yet? Because I think this would be a great presentation for council to look at. And then maybe and the other piece too, I'm kind of struggling with is parks, where is the boundary between that committee also? So I wonder if a good place would be for him to actually bring it to the city council and talk to them a little bit about what he has found and see if they could give any direction on who might be able to help follow up with that. I think the other thing too is that he has some great personal data, and maybe we could look at our safety data to see if we see any calls on the trail or anything like that, which I don't think we have seen. And when I look through the book, I'll take a look to see if anything coincides with that area. So some statistical data to support the analogy that there's a problem out there with the crime statistics. Does that make sense? So maybe take it to council and we'll keep an eye on the data that's coming from the county.
Yeah, we certainly can see what happens there. Go ahead, Sherry. You were saying.
Oh, I just was thinking that I feel like part of this discussion is in anticipation of this park and what could happen, and, doing some preventative measures beforehand, which is great. I'm not dissing that in any way, but it might be assuming some crime there before it happens. I mean, clearly, if it's gonna be comfortable enough, there might be people spending a lot of extra time there. And if they can get there by way of a vehicle, that might become a real problem. But anyway.
Woodrow's hand is raised. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm Woodrow. So I've talked to Frank about this multiple times. And so the bollards that are being taken down or stolen or whatever, I guess there is some back and forth about which entity they belong to, right? Is it Department of Transportation? Is it a state entity? Is it a county entity? Is it a city? Is it, is it an agency within some of those as well? Because trying to get them repaired and replaced, people are pointing at each other. And so I don't know if he's trying, the crime has occurred, right? Someone has stolen the ballards. The ballards are no longer there. And people are having unauthorized access to a few different places here, there, and the other. And so I think he's not trying to get out in front of it, he's just trying to find the right person to engage, to have something done about it. That's my 2 cents on my reflection on conversations with Brian.
I think when he presented to us, though, he did say he was talking about being proactive on what could potentially, when those trails do open. He definitely talked about being proactive.
Yeah.
And doesn't want to see it to become a big problem for us. So. Anyone else have anything?
Well, along those same lines is, once the area by the river starts opening up, right? There's, from what I've understood, again, sometimes I go to meetings, I don't hear things that other people hear. But what I don't understand is, there's gonna be a lot of people visiting these parks, and they're gonna be really, really close to the river, but we haven't made any concrete plans to address the proximity of a large number of people next to the river, like we have been doing in Glenado.
That's because Woodrow, it's a big steep drop off. It's all rocky. It's not even inviting per se to try and get down there to the water. So they're not making there be river access there. So that's part of the reason why. It doesn't mean somebody won't attempt to do it, but there'll probably be some signs up that say not to. I'm sure that that's been taken into consideration. I feel like at the presentation at the Parks meeting, and then maybe a little bit at a different meeting I was at, the discussion on it is that's not, at this point, the park is not intended to have that kind of access.
So you're telling me is that once the park opens, that the people are not gonna be trying to get down to the water?
Well, it's like a 20-foot drop off or something to that effect, as I understand it. It's not really conducive to going down. If you knew that there was a beach just up the way, wouldn't you just go up to the beach?
I'm looking at it, because I live just right down from it, and it is not yet a rocky 20-foot ledge from the parks to the water. It's a nice gentle slope, and it's been graded, and maybe there's other things they're gonna add to this, right?
No, currently that's the way it sits, they tell me. I'm not in the area, I can't get there.
Oh, yeah, no, it's nice and gentle. It's something that you could probably ride your bike up and down it very easily, right now. But yeah, I'm just thinking that, it invites people to go down to the water. I haven't seen any, or I haven't heard any discussions about boulders or rocky. I did hear someone say they were thinking about putting in some plants with thorns that might discourage people from making it down there. But again, you just pull those right out of the ground and keep on going. So, but this is a good conversation. So once we find out what this is really what the strategy is gonna be, they're gonna be placing impediments, right, to make it difficult, either rocks or thorns or whatever. But what are we gonna do about that? And is this gonna end up a public safety problem? Because if people start making pathways down there, then they're gonna get in trouble, they're gonna get wet, and
Maybe at our meeting next week, you should, or 2 weeks from now,
oh,
whatever.
parks, yeah.
Yeah, in Parks maybe.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, well, I bugged Jonah when I stopped in a couple days ago. But yeah, just so that we know that people are, and then rafting and tubing, they're not all gonna get stopped at Glenado. They're gonna think that they can come down here because there's a bigger parking lot, or the outlet malls. Maybe this is something that they thought in their minds that it would be easier to do, because there's more parking spaces, and maybe they don't charge, which we may be charging at Glenado. So, I'm just saying, it seems to be inviting for a number of reasons.
I think that's probably a parks issue question right now, because that park, according to what I understood, is not, the current river structure doesn't say what you're saying about where that stuff is at. And I'd have to wear a hard hat and make an appointment to go in and see the area. At least that's what I understood from our meetings.
Is it off limits?
No, you can go, but you have to let them know you're coming, and you have to have a hard hat and everything.
Whoops.
They're doing construction, so.
They don't have some of the normal entrances blocked off, because we've been down there too.
Well, can I borrow your hard hat? Yeah, does a motorcycle helmet count? Probably shouldn't admit to that either.
Are we gonna be looking for you on our next police
Yeah.
line?
Okay, I was just gonna say, I think it's kind of, I think the river access is way more inviting on the east side of the river, right there at Lewis and Clark Park. It's got stairs up parking, I mean,
And life preservers?
yeah, and life jackets at the boat ramp. So I don't know, who knows? Okay, but at any rate, I don't think that we can write an ordinance. I also think that we would have to get, even to, I guess, it would be only if we wanted to make a statement to send it to city council, but I don't know what our action item, other than I know it could be a problem, but I'm not sure what we,
I think Twyla's suggestion,
is that we tell Frank Stevens to take it to city council, and if there's,
and they
They'll-
might do something because that's gonna be our new park, so.
right, and they might send it to parks though, or to work in conjunction, public safety and
Yeah.
park, I don't know. Okay, so I think that's what I will do, and otherwise, let's see, I will open this, public, have any comment on this agenda item, I'll open public comment, for our follow-up on Frank Stevens' presentation last month, in case you have any comments. All right, nobody does, so I'll close public comment on that. So we will move on to agenda item number 8, safety survey wrap-up. Okay, well, I got those articles done, you guys. And the champion, thanks to Victoria, she printed out the champion.
Troutdale did, they didn't have the hard copies yet.
Oh, they didn't have the hard
So they were
copies
nice
yet.
enough to print some out.
Okay, well, at any rate, yes, I did get the articles written. And thanks to Captain Stewart for perusing the one that I put together on how to report a non-emergency situation online step by step. I resurrected something and edited it and sent it to him for his approval or editing. We got that submitted, so that is on, all the stuff is on page 3, so that's that. And then up in the upper left-hand corner, Citizen Request Center, it's where I wrote that little snippet on reporting an issue, that's specifically streetlights or other things that you can report, code enforcement stuff. And then also directed people to the frequently asked questions section of Troutdale's website, which can just answer a lot of different questions for you if you just look at it. So with that, I think, if anybody's got any other things, I'm closing the book on the safety survey. Like, I don't know that there's anything else we needed to take care of, unless anyone else can
I
remember
loved how
something.
they gave us a full page.
Yes, the whole thing.
When do we want to do it again?
I think that we'll wait a bit, only that, yeah, probably everyone's surveyed out for a little bit, so.
Well, yeah, not anytime soon, but strategically, when do you foresee us, doing another iteration just to see if there's any change or improvement?
Well, let's hear what the committee says. When do you guys think we should?
You're talking a survey, right, Woodrow? Okay, no, I just wanted to, I wasn't sure if you were talking about something additional to the next Troutdale champion or something like that, which we had talked about. Oh, Twyla's got her hand raised. Let her
Twyla,
speak.
go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. This is wonderful. And I see the New York Times is going to be interested in you. That's awesome. You wrote all those. I wonder if we just think of opportunities as they come up. Like if we end up doing one of the first Fridays or something, we do like a little micro survey. So not like a huge thing, but just like a pulse check with the community.
Good idea.
That sounds like a great idea. Yep. Anybody else? So strategically, I think it would be left up to the committee if they come up with, oh, we need to do a full-blown survey to find out.
Yeah,
So,
what's coming up for us that we'll be surveying by the ballot box probably, on police and fire, and that'll be coming up the next few years, so.
yeah,
Well, I mean, this Sherry, I totally believe that we could do another survey, but not this year.
yeah.
I mean, I'm not sure that, they might be saying, what did you even do with the last information? Let's try and like do a little with what they gave us, and then I totally think it's worthwhile to get feedback from them always on where they're at, but.
Okay, so let's see, I will open public comment to anyone on the safety survey wrap-up. All right, seeing none, I will close public comment. All right, we'll move on from that one. Update on National Night Out. Okay, I do have something for you guys. So let's see.
Robbie's doing Africa.
I don't know.
Oh.
I haven't seen them in 2-3 months.
Let's see if I can find it. Okay, I'm gonna see if I can do this for you guys, otherwise I'll have to read it. Let's see if I can go to Zoom and share my screen. And I can get up to the top to start my slideshow. There's all these other things that are blocking it. Okay. Okay, can you guys see that on the screen? Is it showing up? All right. So I was successful in meeting with the gal, Carolyn Hinders at the Wood Village, City of Wood Village. She's their, forget her title right now, I'll tell you in a minute. But, and the city manager, they were so gracious to give me time just the other day. So I'm just really thankful I can provide some information about theirs. This year is their 27th year. It's of their annual event. It's their largest in their city. So it's a big deal. There nearly 2,000 people attended last year, and the reason, how they come up with this
Is that
number,
like 50% of Wood Village?
I don't know.
No.
It's not just Wood Village that shows up though.
So how big is Wood Village really though?
I couldn't tell you, I don't know.
Okay, so it could be half.
I don't know what their population is, but,
Okay.
but anyhow, the way they count this, because I asked them, how did they come up with this number? And she says the guest count is determined by the number of goodie bags or swag bags given out per child, and they estimate that they're gonna be at least 2 adults for every child that does that. And they also estimate based on the quantity of food left over after the event, since they said a certain number or certain items are prepared each year, certain number of items are prepared each year. Okay? Go to the next slide, go to the next slide. How do you make it do it? There we go. Okay, so then, is my stuff showing up? Oh, no, you guys see it, okay. So then how did they decide what to include? So they actually have a meeting and they talk about what has worked in the past and at other events, the community interest and the cultural relevancy. The city council also has goals for engagement, and they follow up with those, trying to address those, focus on family-friendly activities with giveaways targeted towards children. And they're also guided by the remaining budget after all required items and components are determined. All right. So initial planning starts in January, and I gotta read it this way because it's coming through my screen. Okay, so she starts by updating the event website with the year-specific information, like the photos from the previous year, and event sponsorship information for the new year. Then it's kind of, she's not as actively involved in it until after Easter typically, because then they've got a big Easter egg hunt or thing that they do, and so she's involved with that. But then she sends out invites to all the previous participants, event sponsors, to register and track. Oh, that's blocking you guys' screen, sorry, track. And then she also keeps track of who, all the points that she's made contact with, so she's like, and how fast they respond and that stuff like that. So that's kind of informative how people respond to when they register for events. So, I mean, the sponsors that are the participants. And then she books bigger ticket items early on, such as bouncy houses, live entertainment, so they get the dates. Then a few months in advance, she scheduled in-person meetings with the church leadership to review last year's events and talk about any changes needed for this year. And then at least a month in advance, she purchased stuff for goodie bags, and she works with a local grocer to order the food in bulk. Donations do not happen. That's really not happened with, since she talked about, since COVID for sure, that's really dropped off. That really has,
And you have to ask by the end of,
yeah, but even when she does, they just aren't asking anymore because it's
it's always worth a try.
Yeah, she
But
just
you have
said
to do it before the end of the year, because then they'll be all,
that
they'll have donated everything.
she talks about though that it really is, they work so incredibly hard to sometimes, even when they were working, to get like a $50 credit. So I mean, it's really, they don't do it anymore. It's just, it's too hard. So then 2 weeks in advance, she sends participants and sponsors instructions. A few days prior, she sends her final reminders to participants and sponsors, mostly to catch anybody that's going to back out, so she's prepared for who all's really going to show up. She schedules all food and beverage pickup. This is also coordinated with the church because she plans to drop it off there. And then a few hours before, she also schedules when she's going to get ice for this event. So I mean, she's got a good schedule worked out for
So
this
it's
stuff.
located at a church?
It's located at a church, but I mean, Wood Village,
Outside of it, it's not in the church, it's outside of it, but.
it's all in the grounds of the,
Parking
all on
lot.
the grounds of the church,
Okay.
all on the grounds of the
Okay.
church. Okay, so the, who do they partner with? Wood Village Baptist Church. And they've been doing it for over 20 years with them. This is the crux of it. They rely heavily on them for food preparation, food service, traffic control, live music, setup, cleanup, volunteer recruitment, organizing, in addition to allowing us to use their site for the event. So it's a premium. They have that field next to them. They own that, so that's really good. The sheriff's office has been with them since the very beginning. They used to do, I know I used to go in the early years, and they did demonstrations. But that's just changed over the years because there's now been more focus on directly engaging with community. So the sheriff's office still brings patrol cars, patrol boat, and sometimes other pieces of equipment, she says. Waste Management has partnered with them the last 2 years, and they've provided extra rolling carts, but the city has had to pay for the dumpster. And through the top here, okay, yeah, the volunteers, who's involved. Caroline Hinders, her title is Community Engagement Specialist. She's really organized, wonderful. City Manager, he's a wonderful guy, I met him. He took the time too to meet with us the other day. And then last year, they had a few people from Public Works help to facilitate, what did she call it? The equipment rodeo, moving stuff around. So Public Works people had a few workers helping them last year for the first time. And then she gets the parks volunteers in their city to help them prepare the goodie bags the week before the event. Most of the volunteers for this event, she estimates there's between 20 and 30, are arranged by Wood Village Baptist Church through their church members. They handle all the food preparation. They actually boil the hot dogs in their kitchen. They don't do it on barbecues. That became too much of a big hassle. They take care, they've got all the food handling permits, they take care of everything, they do traffic control, they provide the DJ, staff the bouncy house, do the tractor rides, they collect extra trash. I mean, those volunteers are busy. And they also help with the setup and the cleanup. And then typically the city councilors, it's well attended, I guess, by them, and they try to engage the community, so. it's good. And then the cost, they allocate for this event $6,500, but some of it, they also get in-kind donations to help offset some of their expenses. But the budget in the city, they will not exceed $6,500. So, that's my last slide, so that's it, stop share. So, I just told her, actually, she provided, I asked her a bunch of questions, and she provided a bunch I didn't go into absolutely everything that she covered on answering all my questions, but, like how she finds vendors, et cetera, but, she said to be welcome to have any of us job share if we want to come and share, follow around the event so we can see what's involved. I mean, she's really very organized. They also believe in being totally ready. Everything has to be ready more than a half hour. They plan 45 minutes before the event starts. For sure, every event in there is they want to be show ready 30 minutes before. And so anyhow, be happy. Like I said, she really has got a good schedule for when they show up. So we could go at we could job share, shadow on them on the event, totally work. They would love our help. They wouldn't mind us to be involved whatsoever. They had ideas too for if you, some of it you might start on a smaller scale, like if you know you want to have ice cream, you just, rather than you worry about how to keep it cold and ice and all that, maybe you just buy out an ice cream truck and you just pay for that, where they'll have 600 treats or whatever you want to do, and then you don't have to worry about so many other aspects of it. What other ideas they had, but, so at any rate, I said that I would certainly, I think that I'll go and volunteer and shadow on this event this year, for sure, but anyone else, if you would like to. And I don't see well, obviously, the budget just hasn't gone to city council yet, but the budget year, I just don't think with the police and fire, the tightness that we can expect to do this wouldn't be happening this year, and I don't even know if it would be happening in 26 because the budget's just being passed. Woodrow, go ahead.
When is Wood Village's night out?
I think it's in July. I don't pay attention to the date for this year. Let's see if I can tell you that quick.
August 2nd.
Oh, August 2nd. Okay, I was gonna say, I think it's last. Sometimes it's the very end of July and August 2nd. Is that right? It says it's a July event, a yearly July event. Sure it's August 2nd?
I thought last year it was in July, but I
This
might be
year's
wrong.
event is scheduled for July 18th.
Hmm?
July 18th. I'm on Wood Village Night Out, right site. This is old information. July 18th. Oh, I won't be going to that. My daughter is here from Wisconsin. I guess I will not be. Shoot, okay. But anyway, I just felt that they just got a really good program, and I think for us to get something like this off the ground, we definitely should go and shadow with them to learn a little more. And the one thing is, she wasn't around in their very, very beginning days, so she doesn't, but they had ideas on how to start small, other ideas on how to start small and just get it going. So it was very good. Like I said, she's got a template. She's got 50 different vendors that she works with. She builds this list, just building on. So I think that's why it's so successful. She's very organized. So anybody have any questions? Go ahead, Woodrow.
And yes, 2,000 goodie bags means half of their population attended. Because they have 4,700 people in Wood Village, which is awesome, which is really, if you look at them, if we try and set that same metric, what would that look like to have 8,000 plus people come to one of Troutdale's?
Double the budget.
Well, not just the money, but think about the traffic, right? And theirs is 3 hours long. So 8,000 people in one area, 3 hours.
Now, okay, but she did say the reason why, because I said, how do you guys really park, even if half the people walk or whatever? And she says, a huge part walk to the event. Because Wood Village is,
Central Oak, yeah.
yeah, it's really small, and the Wood
And the
Village.
church is like right in the middle of it, right?
Yes, so there's a tremendous amount that are
Yeah.
walking to the event, so they don't have, I mean, we managed to find parking. I did come attend from outside the area, and I did eat one of the treats, so but I'm not a citizen of Wood Village. But I think it's a little bit different because our city's a little more, it's spread out, it's bigger, whatever. So we will have more people needing to drive to it versus their situation, obviously.
Neat,
Yeah,
pretty cool.
cool.
Thank you
In
for
case
doing
Twyla
that
has-
and contacting her, shall we?
Yeah, no, I'm just, I think that's why it was slow to get, because she is a busy gal doing all these things, and she's very on top of it and organized, so that's good. Twyla?
Did she mention bathrooms? Do they like get porta potties or anything like that?
I attended, and I'm sure I saw porta potties, but I did
Okay.
not ask her a question about porta potties. I didn't actually.
I was just thinking with all that food and water and everything, I can't imagine that many people finding a restroom in downtown Troutdale.
Yeah, and I do know she said that they had to have the dumpster. They've had, it had gotten, so they used to use some rolling carts, but it's so much trash, there's so much trash that they had to make sure we have a dumpster, so, yeah. Anybody else? Okay, I'll open public comment on the presentation on Night Out, if anybody has any comments. All right, seeing none, I'll close public comment. Okay, well, so as far as, for what it's worth, I think that, what do you guys think what should be in action, or we do table it? What do you want to do about National Night Out? Do we want to think about it? We want to pursue trying to job shadow this summer? Some of us try to find out more, or anybody? Go ahead, Woodrow.
Woodrow, Troutdale citizen. Well, I really like it, and I think we've kind of missed the window of really planning. Maybe something we want to look at is finding other Troutdale champions that would want to come on board. And by champion, I mean like a cheerleader or somebody who can get really excited and have a little bit of critical mass and kind of have prepared that little outline of January, we have our kickoff meeting, just kind of have that little sketch ready. And then be able to do some pitches to like Marley and Captain and do all that good stuff about, getting our heavy hitters excited about it. And then say, hey, listen, this is what we want to do. And as far as funding goes, I would say we're gonna try and do this thing as free, as cheap as possible and start small. And just say, hey, listen, we're gonna just try and get some interest, get some people, try and do it for as little and no money at all. And then reassess, what worked, what didn't work, what do we do better? What did we learn from job share or Wood Village? What about, does Gresham have one too? Is that something we can do with them as well? And really, you know, have this as more of a learning opportunity to build it and grow it over the next few years. Start very small, but identify that core group of champions and support what we want to have.
I think my biggest thing is I'm going back to our original thing. I think it's a great event, but we need the volunteers. And their city staff is behind it. And maybe ours would, but they haven't at this point unless,
We need to find a church.
yeah, well,
That
we,
would
and then
help us
I was
out,
gonna say, the
I mean,
volunteers.
That's a
because
big base right there, yeah.
That's a huge base, and that, obviously, that's why, I mean, she's very organized with the city, and that's fabulous, but they got the people that are coming in and they're championing it too, so that's, I think, like you have a lot of things, successful events, there are some people that are championing it and volunteering it, and both those things have to come together. So, I mean, I think that's probably the hardest thing we have to find.
This is Sherry, I feel like, it's almost like each of the committees should hear about this idea, because there might be people within each of the committees that would really jump on board to be, you know, one of those champions, that type of thing. Because to me, I can see total connections with CAC, and because it's parks, there could be a parks connection, and I mean, so I just kind of feel like there just could be some more people, and then that could be something, a way that somebody grabs and runs with something.
So I'm just gonna say our plan is we have to find some people that champion this or want to be involved.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and also, you know, as we get a new
Committee.
new
Or
people in
added.
the committee, whatever, yeah, I mean, I feel like things change and people's focus or interests might jive and go, or go the other way, I don't know, so.
Okay, any more comments before we move on? All right, we'll move on. Update from the Public Safety Work Group. All right,
Okay,
Donna or Victoria?
the fire contract, looks like it's almost ready to be signed. We're gonna go with a year contract. And we're hoping, sorry, now my voice is going. We're hoping to go with a fire district, but we're gonna have to vote on that. And possibly it will be with Wood Village and Fairview. Maybe Gresham, but that doesn't look. And with the fire contract, we get to vote in the board and we have a say of what happens
Hiring
with the
and
fire.
Hiring and firing?
Well, no, we have a say with the board. We
Okay.
have somebody on the board. So nothing's set in stone yet, but that one looks like it's getting pretty near the end. I have been talking about the police. That one's not negotiated totally yet. We just got a new proposal, or he sent another proposal.
Oh, okay.
No, you can check on, there's a meeting Monday, and
Okay.
it's all on the Troutdale site, our whole package, and it shows the fire contract, and then it shows the proposal for the police.
Okay.
With the police, our other hope is that if we get the fire district, that will take the money out of the general fund of the budget And with that money, we will start our own police department again.
Okay.
Those are what we're talking about. We're probably gonna need some local levies and a fire district vote. Right now, this is, approximately 1.5 to 2 million over what we paid last year. So they're talking about putting a utility fee on. $15, maybe more, but right now it's sort of 15. The city council has to vote on that. But we have no revenue coming in to help pay for this. So that would help pay for part of it. We're really looking at having our own fire district, which would be nice. So, but we can't do it in a year, so that's why we just are doing the contract for a year. And then Gresham's gonna work with us on what's happening. And it is possible they can come into the fire district too, but getting 4 cities to vote on a fire district might be tough. So, that's why I was saying, we're gonna have lots of surveys by the ballot box. So, anyway, if you want to come to the meeting Monday, that's fine if you have questions. But like I said, the latest proposals are on there if you wanna read them, they're public. Twyla, anything else you can think of?
No, that was a very nice, succinct rundown of where we are. And yeah, I didn't get a chance yet to see what what Ray sent out this afternoon, but looking forward to the discussion on Monday and looking more into the details.
And we're fighting to keep our resource officer. So that's back in the contract that they want that in there, so.
Oh, yes, we don't want to lose
We
that.
want to keep Nick.
Okay, well, thank you guys. Thank you, Victoria. Do you guys have any questions for her? Okay. All right, I will move on. Update on next month's agenda.
So we have the voting for the town center,
Yep.
and then our book. I thought the
don't know, I
budget was
guess
bad. This is pretty hard to go through.
Okay, so after the report next month, then I'll put a category for us to filter the report. That'll be
Yeah.
the agenda item, filter the report, okay? And otherwise, I'm gonna let the National Night Out thing, we'll have to find a champion, we'll just work in this, and I'll let Stevens know.
Champions.
Champions.
Let's try and
yes.
get as many as we can.
Okay, I guess it'll just be, besides the law enforcement reports, we'll assign, or we'll elect, or vote in our TCAB rep, and then we'll filter the report. I don't see anything else. Anyone else? Am I forgetting something? I mean, I guess,
Will we have new members then, or not yet?
not yet. No, not till July. It'll come July.
I know it's sort of silly, we get the new members, but we have to vote on the TCAP before they're in, but.
Okay, well, I was just gonna say, looking at the thing, I guess that's, we know we have to elect somebody in, but I was gonna say, I think that ordinance is actually,
And that's about,
I mean, I think that it's actually contradictory, how I read it too, also in number 5 for contradicting, section 5. So should a particular committee or commission fail to name a representative of the committee by the first meeting by the first meeting of each committee year. So it seems like you name it at the beginning of your year, which begins July 1st. But we're having to name it by the last meeting of our previous year. So for me, it's a conflicting thing. I mean, we can name the person, I don't have a problem with that, but I think they ought to fix the ordinance and it ought to be clear. I think they contradict each other. So anyhow, we'll name the person. I don't have a problem with that. I just think that the ordinance should be fixed going forward, so
Is
it's
it
more
one or
clear.
two?
Just one person. Just one person. And Sherry is our current rep, so. Okay, so we know our couple items for next month. So now the next thing is to confirm, is June 5th good for everybody?
When are the interviews for the new positions?
May 20th. I will be at.
Did you get a lot for,
You have a full slate, because you got Robbie.
Yes, I think we got quite a few.
Because Robbie and me are up, right? You have 2 openings.
Yes. No, 3 openings, I think we do. I think we had 3 openings, because we have a vacancy too.
And your alternate is empty.
And then or maybe that was the alternate, I'm not sure. It seems like I saw 3 spots. Okay, so is June 5th good for everybody?
yes.
Yes. Okay, June 5th, 6:30? All right, let's go committee member comments. We'll start online with you, Twyla.
Great meeting. Good to see you all, and really appreciated the guest speaker talking about the volunteers in Corbett, that program. And I will see you, Shelby, at the committee member selection, and then see the rest of you next month. Take care.
Go ahead, Victoria.
I already said that. What was I gonna say? I'm blank.
I forgot, and Paul's hand is up. We forgot him. Sorry.
Paul.
Paul's hand is up.
Oh, it blends in on my screen. Okay, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Paul.
Okay, I'm going to backtrack to the appointments for the PSEAC on May 20th. I'm not seeing Robbie or Woodrow as applicants. There's four applicants, but neither of them are.
When was that due?
About a month ago.
Oh, man.
Oh, is that online somewhere?
No, it's I get the information from Kenda, it's the deputy recorder.
Rats. I didn't know I was up. Sorry.
Okay.
Do you want me to go out and backdate something?
No, you missed the boat, Woodrow.
I can't do that.
Shouldn't talk that way in front of the police.
Exactly.
Yeah, they put a thing on there if you don't get it in.
Oh, well, I'm late. My bad.
Okay,
Well, I can come visit you guys.
okay. You got any
Now I
comments?
remembered what I
Well, thanks. Good
said.
seeing everybody.
Yeah. Go ahead, Sherry.
Victoria won't.
I sent you that email, those meetings,
Yeah.
so I just thought it'd be interesting.
Oh, you just now sent us an email?
No. Earlier in April, I sent you one on the emergency management, 911.
Yeah, okay, I probably forgot. Okay.
And then I also sent you a copy of Tree City meeting about fire and police.
Oh, okay, yes, you're right. I reviewed that. Okay. Go ahead, Sherry.
But that 911 presentation, I mean, they are improving. And you can go back and listen to it. And then there was all the slides. They're in the city council meeting.
Okay, cool. Go ahead, Sherry.
Thanks, it's a good meeting. Always appreciate the information. Thanks for everybody being here online.
Mary.
Yeah, good meeting. It was a good presentation from Deputy Kaiser. And yeah, hope you all have a good month.
Okay. Well, thank you all for being here tonight. I do appreciate it. We had quorum last month. We struggled with it, so this is really great. So, thanks for all the presentations. That was really great. Okay, well, with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Is Sherry, I make a motion to adjourn this meeting?
Okay?
A second.
Sherry and Mary. Okay, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you all very much.